very specific 3 o'clock prayer service. As they approach the temple, so as they're coming up to the temple, they're not walking past the temple, they come up to the temple. A man, lame from birth, was being carried in. So it's like we talked about, I don't know if any of y'all remember from Wednesday night, this is a man. It's not a boy. It's not a young guy. This resource that I saw says about 40 years old. So he's been crippled his whole life. He's never walked. Never, ever walked. Very key portion of this. He's been lame since birth. We might know somebody like that. We know people that's been lame after birth, but this guy has never walked. He's never put weight on his legs. Each day he was put beside the temple gate, the one called the Beautiful Gate. So it's very specific which gate he was, because the temple had several gates. So what was the Beautiful Gate? So I thought, man, was it just pretty or what? Why they specify is the Beautiful Gate? It was the largest one of all. It was about 50 cubits in height, about 70 foot tall. That's pretty good size there. 70 foot tall. The others were about 40 cubits, about 60 foot tall. One source states that it was made of Corinthian brass. So 70 foot tall. It doesn't tell how wide it was, but made out of brass, and was more expensive than other gates. It weighed so much that it took over 20 men to carry it. That's pretty daggum heavy. We continue on. It says, they put him in front of the Beautiful Gate. Why? So he could beg from the people going into the temple. So like I said, John and Peter probably seen this guy before. They probably knew he was a beggar. He was there every day, because it says they put him in front of that gate every day. Many times how many times you drive up to an intersection, a red light, and you know there's going to be somebody begging for money there? How many times you drive up there and that same person, or it might be somebody different, I don't know. What do? You drive up and you know they're there, you're kind of looking out to the side of your eyes, but you're looking straight. You're not looking at, you might even look down at your phone for a little bit while the red light's, waiting for it to turn green. You're kind of doing something else. You don't want to make eye contact, do you? Because what happens when you get eye contact? They make eye contact, you got that connection, like, oh man, now I might be a little committed. I might be convicted, really. I might feel conviction to give them some money. So what do? You just look straight. You look down. You do anything else besides making eye contact. Or not say I would, or not say you would, but how many times you go different routes so you avoid that intersection altogether. So we look right here. They put this guy in front of the Beautiful Gate. There's other gates to go into the temple. So they could have chosen another gate to go into. But the opportunity, they knew where the opportunity was. They were putting themselves in position for that opportunity. They knew that guy was there. They seen him there before. They knew his story. I mean, it says he's been lame for life. I'm pretty sure they knew. They watched the guys drop him down in front of the Beautiful Gate. They knew him. They seen him before. They knew what his purpose was. Verse 3. When he saw Peter and John about to enter, he asked them for some money. So here it is, what? A lame guy from birth, can't walk, never has walked. He wants money. He asked them only for what he wanted. Was that what the man's problem was? Did he need money? I don't think he needed money. The lame man, he'd been lame from birth. Did he ask for what he needed or just what he wanted? How many times we like that? How many times we ask just for what we want instead of what we need? I'm pretty sure a lot of us have been the same way. Man, I sure would like to have a new truck. And I'm going to pick on my wife just for a second, because it's nothing she done recently, but it's something she done in the past. My wife used to be very notorious whenever her vehicle needed new tires. I need a new vehicle. No, what you need is a new set of tires. Can anybody relate to that? Jolie? Okay, yeah. How many times are we like that? We don't ask for what we need, we ask for what we want. Now, she's a lot better than that now. Man, it's been a blessing. We paid off her Jeep last month, so that was great. Man, I tell you what, and that's another blessing. She thought she overpaid a little bit for her final payment, and she called the bank and said, no, it's exactly what you needed, just exactly what you paid for and everything else. Well, we was in town yesterday, and spent all day in town. It wasn't great, but we did. It wasn't great because we done things that was out of our budget. We bought some other things for some other people, stuff like that. We didn't go crazy, but we got a budget. How many of y'all have a budget? We have a budget. She's very strict with our budget. I mean, that's it. So we coming home and said, man, we went over our budget this week. This is what we're supposed to spend this week. This is how much we need to spend. We went over a little bit. We got to the mailbox, pulled it out. We forgot we had gap insurance on the Jeep. So we got a portion of our gap insurance back that covered for what we overspent. But we didn't use it frivolously. We didn't go wild with it. This is what we needed. God bless you no matter what. You hear stories about people getting blessed with money. It's not about money. I remember the time we were convicted of tithe. Same time we were convicted of tithe was the same time that her company closed the doors. My company I got a 10% pay cut that year, or that same time. Man, what else could go wrong? And we're convicted we need to start tithing. Make sure we do it regularly instead of just every now and then when we thought we could afford it. Our thing is, we did what God told us to do. You know how many times? You know what our blessing was? Did we get a lot more money? Nope, we didn't. But you know what we didn't do? We didn't go without anything. That was our blessing. How many different ways can God show His blessing to you? Money's not everything. Man, I tell you what, none of us were sick. We didn't have to go to the doctors. We didn't have to spend excess money. Our needs were being met. That's what we're talking about here. This guy, he was looking for money, though. That's what he thought his needs was money. So verse 4, Peter and John looked at the man intently. They connected eye to eye right there. They were focused on each other, on him. And Peter said, look at me. Now this guy is sitting on the ground. I'm pretty sure Peter's standing up. He says, look at me. Has anybody, the parents, have you ever told your kid, look at me? Look at me. I want your eyes to hit my eyes. I want your undivided, I want your full attention to be focused on me, because what I'm fixing to tell you is important. So that's what Peter's saying. Look at me, because what I'm fixing to say is going to be important to you. Don't look around. At that point, he had that man's full attention. The lame man looked at him eagerly. So he said, all right, you got my attention. What's in it for me? You're going to give me some money, right? You're going to give me exactly what I need. The lame man at this point wasn't looking around at anyone else to beg for money. All his attention was on these two men. He was expecting money. There we go, verse 5. He was expecting to receive only what he wanted, because that's what he wanted. He wanted money. But Peter said, I do not have any silver or gold for you. What the heck? What's going on here? At this point, what do you think the lame man was thinking? Someone else might be passing by that the opportunity, that guy might have had money, and here I'm focused on you because you said look at you. Man, that guy probably gave me what I was wanting for, what I was asking for. These two men are just messing with me. Probably what he's thinking. They're just trying to distract me, trying to pull the wool over my eyes. Continue verse 6, what does it say? But I'll give you what I have. Okay, this must have been confusing for this man. He asked for money, but you said you don't have any money. So what is that you wanted because of what you asked for? What more could Peter give this man besides what he asked for. All he wanted was money. That's what he wanted. That's all he knew. That's what he was focused on. What other can you give me besides money? How many times have we asked for what we wanted, ignoring what we really needed? Boy, as I was sitting last night and wrote that down, I thought, golly, how many times have I asked for only what I wanted and not asked for what I needed? What did I need? I need to get in this word probably. I need to get my priorities straight, didn't I? I need to work on my priorities because I was looking at my wants and not my needs. Man, I've been there so many times. Peter said, in the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, get up and walk. What? This man by now knows that these two guys are just messing with him. This guy hadn't walked in his whole life. He's been lame his whole entire life. What are you talking about? Get up and walk. He didn't even know how to do this, what he's telling him to do. He had seen people walking, but he really didn't know what it took to actually walk. Something that we learn as young kids. How many of y'all think about how to walk now? You just get up and walk now, don't you? You don't even think about it. But as we're kids, as we're learning to walk, you kind of pull yourself up, you kind of hold on something, you're swaying like this, and you walk and you fall. Here this guy, 40 years old, somebody tells him to get up and walk. You got to be kidding me. You are joking. So what happens, verse 7? Then Peter took the lame man by the right arm and helped him up. He took him by what? Right hand. This guy ain't never walked and say, wait, this man had never walked before in his whole life. Wouldn't you at least take him up by both hands? He's just taking him up by the right arm. Okay, well, I'm going to follow this way. Grab both arms. You think I can walk? You grab me by both arms. You're going to help me because I'm going to wobble around. I'm probably falling my butt. But he didn't. He picked him up only by his right arm and helped him up. How many times did God do that for us? God, I'm in a pickle here. I done got myself in a jam. I'm about up to here. I don't know what to do. Help me. Remember the story when the disciples in the boat and the storm come up? Same guy, Peter again. So Jesus walked across the water. Peter said, Lord, if you command me to come out and walk to you. So he did and walked out there and started looking around and got the storm, got a little fearful, and he started drowning. What did Jesus do? Reached down with one arm, picked him up. He didn't reach down like this. Reached out with one arm, picked him up. That's all he needs. Peter knows that's all he needs for this guy because it's faith. So continue verse 7. And he helped him up. And as he did, the man's feet and ankles were instantly healed and strengthened. I really believe words make meaning. Instantly. They didn't come along just, you see it kind of healing from top to bottom or anything else. It was all together from ankles to his heels were instantly strengthened. What did this guy do? He has never walked a day in his life. He never jumped a day in his life, I guarantee you. This man jumps up, stands on his feet, and began to walk. Peter only gave him one hand with his right arm. Now this guy jumps up, stands, he's never stood before, and he begins to walk around. What do you think this guy's thinking? I done jumped, I done all this. Now it's starting to click up here. What just took place? Then walking and leaping and praising God, he went into the temple with them. Whoo! I'm following them guys. I'm following that guy right there. He done something that I ain't never done before. He done picked me up with one arm. I'm jumping around. I'm walking. I've never done that before in my whole entire life. Wouldn't you follow that person too? Where does he follow him into? The temple. Where does that guy need to be now? In the temple. Where do we need to be right now? We need to be in God's temple. Where's that at? This man was looking for one thing. But what was he given? What he needed. You know, I have one little short story real quick. I'm never amazed what God does. I am never amazed what God does. When I'm focused on one thing, that's what I'm asking God for. When I pray with somebody, I'm focused on that person. We never know, hardly ever know what's going on outside of that prayer or outside of what we're doing right there. So I was in a grocery store here a while back. Of course, getting off work, Delia texted me, hey, can you stop by the store and pick this up? I was ready to get home. I didn't want to go to the store, but my wife asked me to go to the store, so I went to the store. So I got what little few items I was supposed to get. I was in line. There was a young mother in front of me. She had one little baby in her arms, had another one, about that tall beside her. So she didn't have a whole lot of items. She had a few items, and the cashier rung her up, and she put her card in there, and nothing happened. Didn't work. So the cashier, you can kind of see a little frustration come upon her face. I'm seeing this taking place. I'm kind of not really paying attention, but I see what's going on, and I know it's a line on the other side. It was getting kind of slim. I could have gone over there, but I decided I'll stay right there. I didn't know what was going to happen here. So the cashier said, you have another card. Pretty snobby about it, but the lady reached in her purse. She pulls out another card, and she puts it up in the little card reader. Nothing happens. The cashier says, well, you're probably going to just put that stuff back. I'm kind of standing there, kind of minding my own business. I didn't say a word. I just reached my pocket, brought out my card, and I just stuck it in that reader. I don't know why. Just did it. It was about $20, $25, not a big deal, but I just did it, and that young mother looked at me and just kind of gave me a smile and shook her head and bagged up her groceries and took off. No big deal. No problem. The cashier that was being so rude to her, I saw this face just drop. And she just stood there for a second. All of a sudden, she got this big old smile. She walks over behind the cashier and walks over in front of me and reached over and grabbed me a big old hug. I'm thinking, what's going on? She looks at me and said, I'm glad to see somebody do something like that. I thought, ma'am, I just did what God told me to do. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to be there. I really didn't think about it. Just God told me to do that, and it just motioned. I said, ma'am, it had to be God because it wasn't me. I guarantee you that. But what did it do? Who got blessed in that? I got back in my truck, threw those groceries over in the pasture side, and just stood there like, wow, what just happened? I was in position God wanted me to be at that time. I was in line where He wanted me at that particular time. I obeyed Him because it wasn't one of those deals, Dale, pay for her food. I didn't hear that. But I know I wasn't going to reach in my pocket and just do it. I mean, I've got $25 I need to spend, It just happened. That's what we need to do. Put yourself in position to be a blessing. Not only for that one person, guess what? It blessed another person that probably had a bad day that day, that probably had somebody chew her out, that probably had a rude customer come in there and who knows what. I'm pretty sure she wouldn't have a good day because this is about 4:30 in the afternoon, But to be used by God is our main thing. You may say, I don't have very much money. I don't know how to pray for somebody. Sometimes a smile. Sometimes just open the door, say hello, how are you doing? Welcome somebody in. Sometimes, it's like we got to see today, going back helping with a pre-K, helping with kids, helping with chuck wagon, just being a part of it. You can ask Mr. Larry, man, why don't y'all take a break for a while? We take a break during the week. This is what God has us do on Wednesday nights and Sundays. All we have to do is be willing to be used by God in whatever capacity He chooses. Guess what? I don't want to be up here. This isn't by my choice. But Wednesday night, I couldn't sit still. Sean kept reading the scriptures, and God's convicting me. How does this relate to you? I've been there. I've seen people at the corner that I did not help. Does it mean you got to help everybody that's sitting there begging for money? I'm not saying that. But God will convict you who He wants you to help. I believe that, though. I can't help everybody. I know one time that I was at a corner, and God was there, and I had my inspection money. I was supposed to get my truck inspected. I had my console. The Lord, what can we do? He said, give him that money. I said, okay, here you go. It wasn't much. I think it's $20 I had saved, had sit in my console. I gave him $20. I didn't know, but over in Winona, my wife was getting fuel, and somebody needed some fuel, and she was helping them at the same time. She was able to, I was able to. We was able to at that moment. Sometimes I'm not, but sometimes you're just there to give somebody a smile. Give them a cup of coffee. Give them how are you doing this morning? Don't just say, how you doing, man? I'm fine. No. How are you doing? How many times have we done that? How are you doing this morning? I'm doing good. You know they're not. You know they're not. Be sincere in what we're doing. Be intentional. That's what God wants us to do. Be intentional in everything we do. Let's close in prayer. Dear Lord, thank you so much for everything you do for us. Lord, thank you so much for just being you. Thank you so much for using us, working in our lives and through our lives, making us more and more like you each and every day. Lord, not that we're ever perfect, Lord, but we put ourselves in position to be used by you. Lord, thank you so much for your word that lives in us, that teaches us. Lord, just be with us as we go. Lord, thank you for the rain. You know we need it. Even though sometimes we didn't want it right now, but Lord, you know that we're going to need it. Lord, thank you so much for taking care of our needs. We love you and we thank you. Just now I pray. If you need any prayers, the elders will be up front. We'd be more than happy to pray with you. Thank y'all very much.